One mic.
All I need is one mic.
It's just different.
One mic with Big Mike.
The overall tenor of what he's saying is very stupid.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
Maybe it's not racism. Maybe it's placism.
Brother has to know his place, right, Bob?
One mic with Big Mike.
Things aren't always what they seem.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limit.
Don't just tell me that the reason something's being done is because that's the way it's always been done. Because the first thing I'm going to say to you is slavery.
And now, your host.
I got the big homie here who needs no introduction.
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
It is the One Mic with Big Mike show, and I, of course, am your host, Big Mike, here with you on a Wednesday, a.k.a. Hump Day. Hell yeah, man. Let's get on over this hump. The show is being heard live on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, also on the Spreaker app, so make sure you download that from your app store for all your mobile devices. You can also get the show live on TuneIn and, of course, my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, starting at 7 o'clock. You can also catch the show on demand on all four of those platforms, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. I'm trying to slow my speech down a little bit. I just got through eating some Sour Patch Kids, man. I feel kind of jittery, like the crack is calling me. Anyway, the show is also being streamed live, video-wise, on Facebook. So head on over to my Facebook page if you want to see what's going on, which is really nothing. I'm just kind of sitting here, minding my own business, talking into a microphone. But if you guys want to check me out, the website, the Facebook page is at the number one MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Be sure to leave your comments and your questions and whatnot below the streaming video. You can also text the number 404-902-8104. It's there at the bottom of the screen, 404-902-8104, or jump inside my live and interactive chat room here on Spreaker. If you're listening to the show via Spreaker or my website, you'll see a little thought bubble icon sitting on the streaming player. Just click on that. It'll get you inside the live interactive chat room where you can fool around and have some fun with me tonight. Speaking of tonight, my man, one of the smartest guys who have ever graced this show with his presence, from thelegalblitz.com. He's also a contributor to Vice Sports. My man, Steve Silver, is going to hop on. We're going to talk about some legal stuff, some of the stuff that kind of gets glossed over when you're looking at your sports centers and when you're listening to your normal sports radio, some of that kind of stuff that you might find it intriguing. I find it intriguing. He's the guy to help me sort through it all. And at the top of the next hour, I'll do my I always call it my daily feature, but it's not really daily. It's kind of like an every show feature. I call it On This Day, where I take a look back and give you guys some tidbits and some factoids from the world of sports, some historical factoids from the world of sports. Make sure that all the business. Oh, don't forget, you guys, I'm giving away these brims. Let me grab them here. Here they are. All right. And make sure you guys can see them. I got to look at myself. All right. These hats here can be yours. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Everything's opposite. That's another one. And this one, that's pretty sweet. Probably should have kept this one, but I won't. You guys can have it. And you got a couple more denim and, this joint here. And all you got to do, send me a direct message on my Twitter or my Instagram and put the hashtag Big Mike's Brims. And I forgot, you guys can also email me. You can go to the website, go to the contact page and email me, or email me directly at Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Just put in the subject line, Big Mike's Brims. And what I'll do during the Atlanta Hawks playoff games, since they are in the playoffs, shout out to the Hawks, just at some point during the game, I'll just look through my Twitter feed, or I might do it live. I might just put the names on paper, put them in a hat, and draw a name out so you guys know what's on the up and up. And just give the hat that I'm drawing the names from. Yeah, I'll do it that way, that I'm drawing the names from. I'll give that hat to whoever's name I draw. I'll hit you back. I'll follow you and hit you back, of course, on the DM. Get your information and mail you out a brand new Atlanta Hawks, Mitchell and S, or a New Era hat. It's just that simple. Courtesy, of course, of the One Mic with Big Mike show. Now, on to today's show. Today's show brought to you by the word race. I'm sure some of you guys are probably thinking that probably was a sponsor for a couple of other shows I've done. Plenty of other shows I've done. But in particular today, Let me give you guys the rundown real quick. Let me grab my notes real quick. We got to talk about Dez Bryant, Desmond. We got to talk about Kyle Shanahan. The subject of resting players has taken an evil twist today, and really no one knows how to act, but you shouldn't care. Like, I understand why some people might care, but like most of us shouldn't care. Steph Curry is now his turn to be that guy. And you're probably saying Steph Curry's already been that guy. Well, I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about another kind of guy. It's his turn. And did y'all see what happened yesterday in San Bernardino, California, this murder-suicide situation? Crazy-ass cat rolled up in the school to murder his old lady. Like, I don't get dudes that's on that tip, man. Like, and I probably shouldn't get them, because if I understood them, that would say something about me. But yeah, my man's like rolled up in the school, I guess. I didn't really read all the details, so if I'm sketchy on any of it, I'm sure somebody will correct me. And went up in there to kill his old lady and murder himself too, and end up hitting a couple of kids. I don't know. Did I hear that one of the kids died too, which is like real ridiculously stupid. Like that's just weird. But here the surprising thing about it was, and I'll go ahead and say that I was surprised when I saw the pictures today. It was a black man and his wife, and then I thought to myself, something like this has happened, not in my life, but somebody that I knew before in life. One of my high school coaches found out a couple of years ago, did the same thing. Is not the same thing. His wife was a teacher though, and of course he was an educator as well. And they had just gotten married, and for whatever reason, of course, they're both dead, so no one knows. Yeah, he pulled the old murder suicide on her, man. It's like, look, man. Like, as much as I love my woman, I don't love her that much. And I hope she don't love me that much. Like, if you want to go, I'm going to be sad about it. But come on, man. Leave me alone. You ain't got to do all that whole, if I can't have you, no one can have you type foolishness. That ain't the move. Anyway, I just wanted to hit on that real quick. It's just, I don't know, man. The world is just falling into a damn abyss of stupid and silly, ignorant, ridiculous stuff. Speaking of all those things, I got a bunch of them today as well. There's some morality type things that's going on in the NBA that we'll tackle. We got some NCAA news. The city of North Carolina trying to big boy the teams in the ACC, which I think is some foul pool. Tomorrow, Thursday night. I mentioned it last week. John Calipari, 30 for 30 is doing an episode on John Calipari, One and Not Done. I think it should be. Well, I mean, it's 30 for 30. I ain't got to tell you. I ain't got to pump it up and tell you it's going to be awesome. They usually are. So let's start. Let's start with Dez Bryant. So yesterday, I'm assuming it was yesterday, at some point between the last time I spoke to you guys and now, it feels like your man Dez Bryant lost his damn mind, I guess. And I don't want to say it that way. I don't want to be that guy. So let's rewind. Let's talk about Dez Bryant. So I'll tell you guys what he said. First, let me paraphrase it. He's saying that the problems that are going on in Black America, Black people should stop pointing their fingers at white America, stop talking about slavery, and accept the fact that it's your fault, Negroes. It's your fault that you can't run a 4-point whatever, that you're not an elite wide receiver, that your athletic ability wouldn't allow you to make millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. It's your fault. It's my fault. All right. I got you. But no, to actually let's dive into what he said. Let me do something here real quick. Bang and bang. All right. Let's dive in. For those of you who may not be aware of what the homie Desmond Bryant had to say, I'll give you. All right, here we go. It's kind of, it's not that long. I'll give it to you. Then I'll go back and I'll discuss some of the highlights of the statement. Okay, first and foremost, this is Dez Bryant. First and foremost, I would like to say I do a great job of minding my own business, but it's pressing on my heart to share my thoughts about white Americans, and Black Americans. In parentheses, he put racism. I don't know why he wouldn't just put racism, but all right. I saw a person quote Charles Barkley, first mistake, when he said, "We as Black people, we're never going to be successful, not because of you white people, but because of other Black people." I hate to admit it, but I understand that quote. I've been racially profiled on numerous occasions, but not once has it influenced an ill feeling inside me about anyone outside that issue. Real slavery, he puts in capital, all caps, is different from what's going on in our world now. We all, every ethnicity, have the opportunity to lead by example. And instead of making videos about the history of racism that get applause or people with influence merely doing things to post for social media, we should focus on individual accountability to be better as a whole. I recently ran into a guy I grew up with who spent his adulthood dealing drugs. While we were catching up, he shared with me that he wished that he chose a different and better path. He said seeing my success was inspiring and that encouraged him to do better with his life. That's not narcissistic at all. I don't know what the point of that story, that part of this whole thing was. Anyway. Oh, shoot, I just scrolled. Okay. Real question. What is wrong with being sophisticated and black? Did somebody say it was? I didn't hear that. Somebody help me out here. Did somebody say there was something wrong with being sophisticated and black? Anyway, I'll get back to all this. Let me read the whole thing for you. Why do we associate those who choose the straight and narrow as not being black enough, quote unquote? Why was it that I was one of the first examples of success to my friend? We focus hard on fighting the realities that exist instead of creating our own reality. The ones who came before us, I think it's supposed to be before us. He put the ones who came for us. I don't think Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks came for me, so I'm going to go ahead and edit this on the fly. The ones who came before us, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, paved a new path for us to follow. The struggles and hurt they endured created a new life for us today. It is not our job to carry the burden, but it is our job to lead by example. Not that my opinion matters. I'm just sharing my thoughts. Yeah, man. That's the thing. Like you come out with at the very end, like I know it doesn't matter. Well, why then? Would be my first question. If it doesn't matter, then why? You know what I mean? You could have had this conversation. You got plenty of friends, I'm sure. You're a millionaire. You're a black, young, rich millionaire. I'm sure you got plenty of quote unquote friends that you could have shared this information with, but you decided to share it with your how many ever million Twitter followers or whatever it was, Facebook or Instagram. I don't know what this comes from. Yeah, I don't know what this comes from. And to be honest with you, I find it a little bit hard to believe that he wrote it all. But all right, whatever. We'll leave that for whatever other judgment you guys want to pass on it. So anyway, some things stood out in this little this piece that he wrote. The first thing that stood out, the observation of real slavery. I don't understand what that is. Like either it's slavery or it's not. You know what I mean? It's like either you're pregnant or you're not. It's like people who use the term reverse racism. Nah. Reverse racism to me would be just no racism. It would be the opposite. You know what I mean? So it's just racism. If it's racism, it's racism. Not just because it's a black person against somebody else. You can just call it reverse. It's just what it is. So real slavery is different from what's going on in our world now. My man, I think that thing that you're describing as real slavery is going on right now. I talked about it on Monday with my guest when Danielle Slayton joined me. In Qatar, the FIFA, they got people over there working on buildings and not paying them. Building infrastructures or building structures, i.e. slavery, have taken their passports so they can't leave if they want to. They die and no one knows who they are. Their families don't know what's going on. There's real slavery. There's slavery going on in this country. There's sex trafficking. There's sex slavery. I don't know what he's describing as real slavery, but it's a real thing even today. There are also forms of slavery. You know what I mean? So just to kind of put this whole thing into real slavery is different from what's going on in our world now is to do exactly what white America would insist that you do. Forget it ever happened. Right? Get past it. Get over it. All right. No, and I'm not going to be the dude. I can't stand when y'all do this too, man. Like the first thing you want to do, that gut emotional reaction you want to have is, oh, Dez Bryant a coon and this. He's the same dude that y'all was defending in the thing that he mentions, I've been a victim of racial profiling when he and his boys got caught up with the mall cop about pulling their pants up and getting banned from the mall and all that kind of stuff. Bunch of y'all stood up for him and was championing Dez Bryant, but because now he has a different perspective than you have, he's a coon, he's a sellout. Turn in your black card. Nah, it ain't that. I think a discussion needs to be had, and I think also Dez needs to become educated, man. Like I always say this to people who, like, you know, people who are in school studying law or maybe studying medicine, like in a second year type situation, like sophomores in school. They want to start diagnosing you or telling you, giving you legal advice. Sometimes a little bit of knowledge is the worst thing to have, because you think you can put together the whole puzzle based on that little bit of information that you have. And it feels like that's what Dez Bryant is doing right now. He's doing it from a very, very privileged position and not understanding how fortunate he is to be in that position. Plenty of people see themselves from young men as having extreme athletic ability. I'm sure a lot of you know these people. And things just never seem to work out the way it worked out for Dez Bryant, for whatever reason. So these words, they're not coming out of the mouth of a tenured professor or out of a neurosurgeon or out of an astrophysicist. They're coming out of the mouth of a football player, you know, a dude who essentially hit the lottery, the 1% of 1%. And is telling you and is equating that to success. So yeah, I guess by Dez Bryant's version of success, none of us are successful in, because very few of us, like I said, the 1% of 1%, very few of us are that. Very few of us are in our 20s with what is his contract? I don't know. It's like $70-something million. Him and Bebe signed the contracts around the same time. And I think it's like $5 million or something like that is the extent of his contract. Not many of us are there. And it's kind of, it shows a level of audacity to say, look at me. My friend said I'm his role model. Well, your friend's a drug dealer. And for the most part, that's kind of how it goes. You know what I mean? Like the athletes, they walk around dressed like dope boys. They got they pants sagging, they gold chains. Say I'm wrong. And then the dope boys want to be athletes or rappers, or the rappers want to be athletes, or the athletes want to be rappers. It's pretty interchangeable. So it doesn't surprise me that his dope dealing buddy's like, man, I wish I could have chose that path. It's not really one that you choose. Being a professional football player, I'm not gonna go as far as to say it's a privilege. Nah, because you gotta be better than a lot of people to be in the position like guys like Dez Bryant are in. So I'm not gonna go out and say that company line. It's a privilege to play professional football. All right. So is it also a privilege to be a professional trash collector or a professional dishwasher? It's a job. It just happens to be a job with a very, very high pay scale or pay rate. Nothing more, nothing less. But the notion of, you know, that is the equivalent of success, as though all these proper choices were made to get you to that point. No, you're good at one thing. You're very good at one thing. And I want to point that out too. I want to make that point as well, that when people start getting angry about this type of stuff, and you know, the blood pressure start going up, people start want to insult the dude on Twitter and Instagram, all this kind of stuff. Understand he's a football player. Now, that doesn't mean football players can't be smart. They can't be articulate. They can't have worldly views. That doesn't mean that. But the only reason you know Dez Bryant is because he's a good football player. You know what I mean? Now, if he said something that was, you know, thought-provoking and provocative and something that was more insightful than this, cool. But if not, whatever. Write it off. It was my argument back when Trick Daddy was talking about black girls need to get their act together because these white women are coming, or whatever he said, white women, foreign women, whatever he said. And for people to get mad at that, I'm like, that's Trick Daddy. Why do you care? about what he says. This is the you don't know now, dude. And all of a sudden now his words carry weight. Yeah, kind of good. I mean, some of the other things that stood out to me. He talks about something that I talk about a lot, and we talked about on Monday with Danielle Slayton. Instead of making videos about the history of racism that get applause or people with influence merely doing things to post for social media, we should focus on individual accountability to be better as a whole. Now, a lot of these things are very presumptuous. Like he's acting like the black people that are in these dire situations are not trying to do better. You know what I mean? Like that's the assumption that really kills me when anybody makes, the black or white, makes those statements. Him, Charles Barkley. Like at the very end of the day, in the case of guys like Dez Bryant and Charles Barkley, tell me what you really did. You played a game. Dez Bryant currently plays a game. And you happen to be better than a lot of people at that game. That doesn't translate to something, and I talk about this all the time, man, that other people can aspire to. That's the ridiculous thing to aspire to. I was watching on Vice Sports. They was doing a profile on the youth leagues, the little league football in Miami, like how competitive it is. They had what's the homie's name? From here, Devontae Freeman was on it. You know, obviously Uncle Luke was on it. And he was talking about, and I literally laughed out loud when this happened. One of the coaches was doing like the pregame prayer. And part of his prayer was this. He said, "And Lord, I pray that you let every player on this team become a professional football player." I was like, okay, he doesn't know odds. The odds of that happening are slim to none, and they're a lot closer to none than slim, cuz. Like that can't be a thing, dude. Yeah, it's football, and they're playing football currently. But the reality needs to be, for those kids in those areas of the world, that you can't bet your future on becoming a football player. So I hear Dez Bryant saying, like, yeah, man, my friend really look up to me. He shouldn't, because everybody can't do that. You know what everybody can do? Everybody can go to school. Everybody can go to a library. Everybody can, look up stuff other than, what's trending on Twitter, on the internet. You can educate yourself. You can do those things. But I didn't hear any of these things in Dez Bryant's statement. I heard Dez Bryant say, look at me, man. Look at where I'm at. If I can do it, that's another stupid thing I hate people saying. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I don't know what you're really saying about yourself. But especially in this case, when we're talking about what would we consider Dez Bryant? Top 10 receiver in the NFL, right? Somewhere around there. No, everybody can't do that. And that's part of the problem with him and someone in that position making that statement. That, man, all this stuff that's going on right now, it ain't got nothing to do with slavery. Newsflash, man, this is America. And if you open your eyes enough, everything has to do with slavery. And the fact that the people who run this country never want to address it, never want to have the conversation about it, tells you everything you need to know. I was thinking about the prohibition on marijuana. I don't know how many people know this. They got tapes of Richard Nixon talking about how the reason is that marijuana, this quote unquote drug, is so dangerous. The reason that it's a Schedule I drug, meaning that it's more potent in the minds of the law, of the government, than heroin and cocaine. It's laughable. But the reason that that's there is because it was said to turn the Negro violent. It calls them to rape white women. Yeah. Crumbs that lead all the way back to that slave mindset, to the slavery times. There's plenty of them. The laws that we're supposed to abide by now, go back far enough and see why they exist. Watch the documentary 13th. That's what got me to start looking around more. I was like, wait a minute. They said Negroes was free. But then they put I forget what they called it. They put them in contracts. Like they call them like bombs or something in the contract. to where if you hit this certain thing, it messes up the whole deal. So like you're free until you get incarcerated. Now it doesn't say if you're incarcerated for a violent felony, drug related. It just says period, that you can become a slave again. Yeah, it don't stop, man. For people like Dez Bryant to say, you know, it's over, get over it, pick yourselves up by the bootstraps, as though people who live in these dire situations don't want to do that, and they're not trying to do that. And the one thing that a guy like him won't bring up is the why. That's the same thing with white people. The white people who run this country, they'll talk about what's going on in Chicago. They'll talk about what's going on in the inner cities of this country, but they won't talk about why. We was growing up, we saw Boys in the Hood, and we remember Fury Styles talking about, don't nobody in the hood own no damn boat. We don't own no damn plane. So how these drugs get here? How these guns get here? How when I over where I used to live at, if I drove 5 miles in either direction, I would literally pass by at least 5 liquor stores. But then when you start saying, why is that? Why is that a thing? To white America, everybody get mum. It ain't like that in their neighborhoods. And this is not the thing that'll get me to stop listening to your dumb point faster than anything is when you say to me about race relations in this country, the problem is, wait, you saying there's only one? I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. Nah, you can't boil down hundreds of years of issues into one thing. And once you do that, I'm done listening, cuz that ain't the answer. There's one thing that we gotta do. You just stop feeling sorry for yourself and stop talking about slavery. Everything will be all right. All right, then what, B? Where we at then? Then I don't know where this came from. What up, Reg? I see you, dog. My man Reggie's in the chat room. You guys can join him in there. I got my man Steve Silver coming up from thelegalblitz.com and Vice Sports in about 3 minutes here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. The whole thing, real question, what's wrong with being sophisticated and black? Here's the thing. If I just showed you a picture of Dez Bryant and told you to rattle off 10 words, would one of those words be sophisticated? I'm just asking, because I don't. That's not the first thing that comes to my mind when I see Dez Bryant. I don't even understand that question. Because someone's living on the straight and narrow, they're not black enough. I consider myself living on the straight and narrow. You know what I mean? Like I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm not doing illegal stuff. I ain't out here robbing folks or selling dope and none of that stuff. I've yet to hear someone accuse me of not being black enough. I might be the blackest person some of you may encounter today. You know what I mean? And I don't mean like I'm like, you know, super brotherfied. I'm just like optically black. You know what I mean? It's just weird. You know what I mean? And then he even realized at the end of the day that this was stupid. He's like, not that my opinion matters. I'm just sharing my thoughts. You could have kept him, B. I'm not even fronting about that. You could have kept him because, like, this whole thing where people think they're extra smart when all they're doing is re-illuminating problems. Everybody can point out problems, right? Who's gonna step up with answers? Everybody can say this was wrong with black people. This was wrong with black people. Black people shouldn't start doing that. Black people ain't doing this. All right, how we fix it? Because we got 100 and something. We got hundreds of years, man. The problem is, the game wasn't designed by us and it wasn't designed for us. That's the problem. Well, see, there I go. That's one of the major problems. Weren't no black folks at the table when they was making rules around this piece. You know what I mean? And to this very day, insert Colin Kaepernick here. To this very day, black people are still fighting to be able to take advantage of just the normal rights. Like the stuff that white people take for granted every day. Black people are still being persecuted and being shamed and being threatened for just taking simple advantage of the rights that are supposed to be afforded to us. But according to Dez Bryant, nope. It's all black people holding each other down. And that's not entirely false. But it's a huge generalization, man. You know what I mean? It's a huge generalization. Man, Trump got some of these black dudes tripping, cuz. Like, straight up. Trump got these dudes saying, you know what? That white man might be right. That's that millions of dollars talking. Because if you was sitting in my chair, you wouldn't be uttering that nonsense. But you got a couple million in the bank, so it must be something that you did. Bet. I got Steve Silver coming up next, man. It's the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker, the Spreaker app. Tune in, onemicwithbigmike.com. What up, Big L?
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
In the U.S., about 90 people die in motor vehicle crashes each day, and thousands more are injured, resulting in hundreds of millions of dollars in direct medical costs each year. 1 in 3 crash deaths involves drunk driving, almost 1 in 3 involves speeding, and half of those who died were not buckled up. Even though we've made progress in the U.S., other high-income countries have lower motor vehicle crash death rates. We can and must do better. Here's what you can do. Use a seatbelt in every seat on every trip, no matter how short. Make sure children are always properly buckled in the back seat, in a car seat, booster seat, or seatbelt, whichever is appropriate for their age, height, and weight. Never drive while impaired by alcohol or drugs, and help others do the same. Obey speed limits, and drive without distractions. To learn more, visit cdc.gov/vital signs.
And now, back to One Mic.
What are we waiting for? Let's get to it.
With Big Mike.
Yeah, man. Hump Day. We back. We in here, man. Check this out. I want to know if you guys have heard of this. A super orgasm. Yes, a super orgasm is where certain women are able to orgasm 100 times in a row. Experts reckon that the climaxing state is possible with a mix of relaxation, yoga, and bonding. Those with the ability of being super orgasmic typically have greater blood flow to their genitals compared to single orgasmic women. There also appears to be biological differences in the women who experience super orgasms. Women who experience single orgasms will usually have lower levels of alpha waves, which rise as they climax. But super orgasmic women have high alpha waves throughout masturbation, which means they're relaxed during the whole experience. An important part of reaching super orgasm may be turning off the brain and becoming less engaged and letting it go. A recent study found that men with long penises give women more orgasms. And that last part is published in the study of Duh. All right, now it's time to move on. Away from the ignorance into some intellectual talk, if I can get it out. Welcome into the show, to the One Mic with Big Mike show right now. My man, friend of the show, Steve Silver from LegalBlitz.com. Steve, what up, my man?
How are you?
Good.
I'm good.
I meant to say
quite an intro. I don't know about that topic moving into here.
You know what I'm saying? It's like they're moving the goalpost on us, right? Like you kind of figure out something.
Everyone's excited, I guess.
Yeah, you figure out some things, and then now it's like, 100 is now the new minimum. Anyway, man, how was your trip to Italy, man? You told me you were just coming back from Italy. How was that?
It's great. Was in Rome and then Sicily, and as you can imagine, it's beautiful, amazing food. It's always a little sad when you step off the plane back in Philly after somewhere like that.
That's what it is. You didn't fly United, did you?
I did not.
Before I get into the stuff that I really want to talk to you about, I got to ask you a question that I posed last week about Thabo Cephalosha. Now, he sued the New York City Police Department, I think it was the New York City Police Department, for $50 million based on them beating him up and breaking his leg outside that club last year. They settled for $4 million. Now, I always have a problem with that, like these police incident settlements, because it's essentially the taxpayers that are paying for the mistakes of the police, right? And I was wondering, and for a guy like Thabo Cephalosha, who is financially secure, he's an NBA player, could he choose to go after the actual police officer and like have his wages garnished or something like that, put a lien on his home instead of getting the money from the taxpayer? Would that be an option available to him?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
You could sue the individual police officer, but 9 times out of 10 they're covered because it was in the course of their employment.
Right.
So it varies, and there's different laws, especially with whether it be security, bouncers, police, people who are in that role. Now, some of that money might be coming from an insurance company. I don't know how the NYPD is set up. There are insurance plans that cities, counties can take out, to cover things like that. But then again, a lot of the plans will not cover if it's, beyond negligence. If it's an officer acting so far out of line, then you lose insurance. Just as you would, let's say, with your homeowner's policy, if you, hide something and then do something intentional to cause damage, they're not going to cover.
Right.
So that's how that works. But yes, it's a problem. I mean, it's a problem across the country, not just in that lawsuit, but all lawsuits, where police departments are paying settlements. And that one got reported because it's a Knicks player.
Right.
But there's a lot every day that happen, and taxpayers don't know the total amount and what the tab is.
It's just weird. I want to ask you about juries too, because I haven't spoken to you in a while, and I have all these like legal things that have kind of built up, and every time I every time I think about the jury situation in America, I ask myself why. I was watching I was reading something about Oscar Pistorius, the guy in South Africa that killed his girlfriend in the bathroom, the track star.
Right.
And
yeah.
The way South Africa does it, they have a panel of judges that decide the person's fate. And I was like, why can't we do that in America? Because like, if I ever get in trouble, I don't want some damn trucker or some housewife who can't get out of jury duty deciding my fate. I would much rather have a group of legal professionals, people who know the law actually, to decide my fate. Is it just a matter of that's the way it's always been done, so that's the way we'll continue to do it?
Well, so this is a common misunderstanding, which is you have a right to the jury trial, but you can waive that. So you can have a bench trial. You cannot get a panel like that.
But it just be one judge.
You can't have. It would be one judge.
Right.
And there are certain instances, both criminal and civil, where you would not want a jury, and you go with bench trial. But the closest thing we have, especially on the civil side, is arbitration.
Okay.
I handle a lot of arbitrations, and it's usually 3 attorneys. You've been certified as an arbitrator, and you get a panel of 3. And so obviously you need at least 2 to win your case. You get mixed results, but I think a lot of people feel that is a more efficient and more fair system.
Well, if I ever get pinched, I'll keep that in mind. Fingers crossed that I don't, but if I ever do.
Right. And look, while I have an opportunity to talk to your listeners, you said something interesting, which was I don't want the people who are left over who couldn't get out of jury duty. But so all of us who are trying to get out of jury duty, imagine if it was you who needed a jury.
Right.
So I like to say, listen, unless there's a real medical or work situation where you can't do it, you should do it, because you think of who's left if you don't do it.
Right. Exactly. He's Steve Silver from @thelegalblitz.com on Twitter, or @thelegalblitz on Twitter and Facebook. He's also a contributor to Vice Sports. Vice, I talk about all the time, my favorite channel, my favorite reads, everything. So I'm glad you're a part of that, my man. the O'Bannon case. What is that over, Steve? Is the O'Bannon case done? Because I know they tried to go Supreme Court with it, and it got shot down, right? Or am I mistaken?
Well, O'Bannon now they're fighting over attorney's fees. But where we went was it was heard, in district court. Judge Wilkin, who is now going to hear several other major antitrust cases that could be even bigger than O'Bannon, went out to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and then both sides tried to get the U.S. Supreme Court to hear an appeal, and that was denied. So that effectively ends the litigation, but they are fighting over fees and, the dividing up the money. That, I assume, will be resolved soon. But as far as the actual merits of the case, that's over.
And it essentially was an L for Ed O'Bannon and his guys, right? It wasn't the win that I anticipated happening. I know the video game company took the video game off the market. That was one thing. But what else transpired from the case?
They did, but so it's funny when it came down. The initial reaction, a lot of people in the media was, "This is a big win for the NCAA."
Okay.
But back then, and I was writing for Deadspin all the way back then. I think it's over a year ago, maybe two. I wrote that this was a loss for the NCAA, and a huge loss. And it's proven true, because what was buried in that opinion, yes, the judge ruled you do not have to pay the athlete. But buried in there was, you, the NCAA, are not immune to antitrust. And that is something that the NCAA since the 80s has used as a shield. They've said, we have an antitrust exemption. Well, not anymore, at least in that court. And that's why there's a whole rise of litigation throughout the country now that's just chipping away that you, NCAA, and your rules and your procedures are open to antitrust challenges. And we know the NCAA is a cartel. Oh. It is the definition of a cartel.
Yes, indeed.
So that is huge. I mean, they're going to be facing litigation for years, and they just paid out, it was a few months ago, over $200 million, if you play basically with this cost of attendance. See, that came out of the O'Bannon, and this is a little complicated. O'Bannon said you have to pay the athletes at least the full cost of attendance. Mm-hmm. So if your scholarship was lacking, which most were, a lot of people don't realize that. All the idiots on Twitter who say, well, they get a free ride. Well, they didn't. Most of the time, these kids were still short $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a year.
Right.
And if you're coming from a poor background, where are you getting that money? And it's not like you can have a side job.
The perfect description. Idiots.
So O'Bannon said, no, that led to this full cost of attendance. So then there was a follow-up suit, the Alston case, and that led to, if you played, Division I sport between certain years, and it's roughly when O'Bannon started and then when it ended, you're going to get a check. All those athletes are going to get a check for, and it varies the amounts, but it could be as little as $1,000, as much as $7,000-8,000, because they were owed that money for the cost of attendance. So, Bannon just kind of opened the door, and we're starting to see the effects now.
Do you think that's what this political pack is all about? This political action committee is all about? That now the ADs feel like they got their guy in office, so now they're forming this political action committee, and now it's time to roll back or try to reinforce some of those things you're talking about, those antitrust type situations. Is that the play with that?
100%. And this is one of my favorite things that's happened this year. And, people can go on vicesports.com, and my editor, Patrick Ruby, he wrote a great piece on this Lead One organization. And, think of how ludicrous this is, right? You have, 100, athletic directors, all of whom are making six figures, some making over $1 million a year.
Right.
Who feel the need to have their own PAC. Now, are they giving their own money? We don't know. Are the universities donating money, but they're doing it kind of through their ADs? You know, they're funneling money into this group. We're not sure, but they've hired experienced lobbyists. And what do they need? Right? Sit back and what could they need from Congress?
Yeah, they need to make amateurism a law, an actual law, right?
That's right. That's right. So what they need is they need a antitrust exemption written in the law. They need some sort of, you know, amateurism or athletes will never be paid type of thing put in the law. They need all kinds of, who knows, I mean, protections from Lord knows what type of fraud they might perpetrate next.
Such scumbag stuff, man. They're such scumbags, my man. Goodness gracious.
But yes, and so what's interesting, and again, you know, they're essentially representing states, right? The state universities for some of them. Some of them are private schools. And let's not forget, the NCAA, and I have an article that will be coming out probably next week about this very topic. They're a nonprofit.
Supposedly.
NCAA is a 501
right, supposedly.
Well, they are, and that has big ramifications because the NCAA knows that currently they cannot engage in direct political action, even though we know that they have spent money lobbying.
Right.
We know that. It's been reported. The IRS should be revoking their tax-exempt status. But
for that and a bunch of other reasons.
But putting that aside, and this might blow your mind, and I'm probably giving a little away, but our president has promised to take away a law that's been on the books for 60-plus years that will allow 501c3s to engage in political activity.
What a scumbag, man. What?
Now, that's directed at really for religious organizations.
Right.
That's who's lobbying this. But everyone forgets, NCAA is a 501c3. So it holds the same status as your church, as the Red Cross, you know, as any charitable organization that can take donations.
Yeah, and I actually did a segment on a show last year about this, about people who say they don't care or the kids are already getting paid. Understand that you and your tax dollars are supplementing the NCAA. For many people who don't know that, that's a real thing. Make sure you check his stuff out on Vice Sports. Go to thelegalblitz.com as well and follow him at The Legal Blitz on Twitter and Facebook. He's Steve Silver. Let's talk about your article. Tell the people why. I mean, just recently, Neil Gorsuch, Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, was what's the word I'm looking for, Steve? He was
confirmed.
He was confirmed. Thank you. What does that mean? Like, if I'm a person who doesn't care about politics, but I love my sports, why should I care about this?
Right. So, again, go ahead. If you go on Twitter and you find me The Legal Blitz, I think I have that article pinned up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still on Vice Sports. It's pretty interesting. And I think the very first case we will see, I would say 99% certainty, is sports betting. So I can't imagine there's many sports fans out there who don't care about sports betting or want to be able to do it legally, who are already doing it through other various means.
Is that to expand it, or is that to include like fantasy sports or everything, or all of the above?
The case that would go forward is litigation out of New Jersey, which has been going on for years.
Okay. Chris Christie's crew.
Which is, Chris Christie's crew. So at PASPA, which is the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, this was passed in the 90s, that outlawed sports betting, except for Nevada, as we know, and a few other states. They grandfathered in, like Delaware has these parlay cards, and New Jersey was one of the states that could have had sports betting.
Don't they do horse racing up there, though? Don't they do horse racing in New Jersey?
Lots of states do horse racing, but that is not the same.
Not considered gambling?
It is, but it's considered pari-mutuel gambling, and it's not doesn't fall under the same law involving what I'll say are human athletes.
Gotcha.
So New Jersey could have had legal sports betting, but in typical New Jersey fashion, they could not get the laws passed and they couldn't get their act together. So they missed the deadline and they have not had sports betting. What's unique about PASPA is, and most people don't know this, and I have not found another law. Now, I'm sure there's one out there, but I have not found another law out of all the laws we have that gives the NFL, the NCAA, MLB, NHL, all of those sports leagues, the same power as the U.S. Attorney. They have the same power as the Attorney General of the United States to sue anyone who tries to have sports betting outside of Nevada.
Whoa.
And that's what they did. So it is actually written into the law. These private corporations have the same power as our highest law enforcement.
Holy smoke!
And so they filed suit against New Jersey, and to stop the spread of sports betting. And this has been litigated for years. It's gone up on appeal. It went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court did something which is not unusual, but they do it in kind of bigger cases. They said, before we either agree to hear the case or we deny it, we want to hear the views of the Solicitor General. And if the Solicitor General, which again is a Trump appointee, says this is a case worth hearing, the court 99% of the time takes the case. Wow. And so that's where Gorsuch comes in, because he could be the tie-breaking vote.
Right.
As has been predicted, and one would think, if Trump is consistent, that his Solicitor General would be in favor of legalized sports betting. It's certainly pro-business.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, when he was a casino owner in the 90s, advocated for legal sports betting. And Gorsuch, why it's interesting, because he's conservative, but this is a classic federalism versus states' rights issue. So this is right in the conservative wheelhouse, which is this PASPA. It goes too far. It gives the federal government too much power, and the state should be the one to decide if they want sports betting or not.
Right.
As we already know, states can decide if they want casinos or not, or a lottery or not.
See?
So that is number one. It's probably going to happen within the next year, and it would have huge ramifications. And there are lawyers now who are making the argument that the NFL shouldn't even be allowed to continue on this suit because they're putting a team in Vegas.
Right, exactly. It's like the worst timing for all of that. And for all you people who love to say, keep your politics out of my sports, too late. That ship has sailed. We're there. We're there, right. And we're going to be there. Let's move on. Before I get you out of here, let's move on to the NFL concussion settlement, because I don't understand why this hasn't been like top of the Sports Center ticker news. The fact that the settlement amount has been agreed upon. They have no more appeals, if I'm correct. But no money has been paid out yet. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. You mentioned some of it earlier, talking about people suing, lawyers suing clients for fees, putting liens on clients for fees, client poaching, those type of things. My first question to you is, should that kind of behavior been foreseen because of the amount of money that we're talking about, and of course the entity being the NFL that's involved in all of it?
Well, of course. And, this happens in a lot of these, big class actions or big litigation. I think what you're seeing now is, so the amount of money is huge, but in terms of people who do class actions or who do these multi-district cases, it's not that huge. I mean, it's $1 billion, but sometimes they're billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So the money is one thing. I think what you're seeing, and this is my view from afar, is just it's the NFL, and so people like, to surround themselves or say, I represent so-and-so, or, there's a mystique to these athletes and representing them. And it's sad. I mean, what the court has to set aside fees, and rightfully so. I mean, the attorneys have spent significant sums of money to get here, but it's hard to police this type of, behind the scenes and the backstabbing and this and that.
Right, because the NFL set aside $112 million for the lawyers involved in the case, but then they're now lawyers saying they want retainer fees of up to 40% of the actual settlement amount. And from what I was reading today, they don't consider that double dipping, is it?
It depends on a lot of things, and a lot of these, there were the lead attorneys, and there are other attorneys who kind of created this cottage industry of trying to sign out as many retired players as possible.
Right.
And who knows what they signed? They might have agreed to the 40%.
Wow.
I mean, that seems high, but a lot of plaintiffs' attorneys take that these days. It used to be the rule was a third, and it keeps creeping upward. So it's dirty, and I think it's expected. Look, the other thing that will play out in years to come is what will the athletes actually see?
Yeah, I mean, that's the tragedy of it all.
The ones getting big money, it's going to be most of the time after they're dead.
Yeah.
CTE can't be diagnosed in the living. If you get diagnosed with something like ALS, how quickly you get the money because your life expectancy could be short.
Absolutely.
It's not a great settlement, but I think it's the best that could have been done given the circumstances.
Absolutely.
So, that's, and actually on the flight to Italy, I watched Gleason. I don't know if anyone has watched that, but that's a documentary of New Orleans Saints player who had ALS. And,
Steve Gleason.
You watch that, and it's hard to watch.
Absolutely. It's a terrible disease, my man.
Yeah. So, you hope this settlement does what it's supposed to do, but time will tell.
The final thing I got for you, and I always appreciate your time, Steve. I always get smarter when I talk to you, man. I should do it more often, but it's one of those things where I got to make sure I got my ducks in a row before I talk to somebody as smart as you, man. I'm being 100% real. The NFL, they're being sued by cheerleaders again, and this suit was filed right around, I think, the day before the Super Bowl. Some young ladies out in the Bay Area, and I just want to ask you about the hypocrisy involved in this. The NFL, they care so much about the women, and they want to tell you that they care so much about the women. Why should this even be a case that these women want just livable wages? Like the mascots make like 25 to 40 grand, and these women who get, for whatever reason, like I think the whole cheerleader thing is passé as well. I think it's archaic and it serves no purpose in the construct of the game itself. But whatever, if you're gonna have them, don't pay them $5 an hour. How about we do that? But these ladies feel they have to take the NFL to court to get a regular wage to do a job. How is that a thing, Steve?
Well, a lot of them don't get paid at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, I think, the NBA is notorious for some of that. I know they haven't been in litigation, but, it's one of those things where I think they feel like, okay, if you don't want to do it, we got 100 other girls lined up behind you.
That's horrible.
And, supposedly there are some other perks, if you're a cheerleader and maybe you get some money from, I don't know, calendar sales or whatever it is. But, it's almost a full-time job.
Yeah.
And very strict controls in terms of
body image,
what you do, how you look. So the question becomes, and why it happened in California, and you see a lot of these lawsuits in California, they have the most liberal, I'll say, labor laws or employment laws. And, do they arise to the legal definition of an employee? I would think so. And if so, they got to be paid. So they're not asking for a ton of money.
Right. That's the thing, too. They're not trying to break the bank.
No, and, it's silly. It's not going to... I mean, even if you pay them $20 an hour, well, that's a rounding error for these NFL teams.
Pocket change, man.
And how many girls are there? I mean, a max 20? I don't know. You're not talking about 100 cheerleaders.
Right.
So, but look, then the problem becomes is if you're paying them as employees, how do you do it? How do you calculate the hours, or is it salary? Do you then have to give them health benefits and other benefits? Are they covered by workers' compensation insurance? I mean, it's more complicated than just the fair wage, but I think if as a team you're going to have that, then you've got to budget for it.
Yeah, exactly. Or just don't have them. There's that. He's Steve.
Right. I mean, look.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers don't have any. And they had a mascot that was very short-lived. So, baseball teams don't have them. I don't know if all the NBA teams do. I know a lot do. But, you've got to make that decision.
Yeah. They add nothing to the game at this point. To me, it's the last bastion of sexism that still, well, not the last. It's one of the last bastions of sexism that's still acceptable in the professional world. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Steve Silver of The Legal Blitz. Follow him on Twitter and Facebook at The Legal Blitz, and check out his stuff on Vice Sports. Steve, as always, I appreciate the time, man. I get smarter every time I talk to you, and I really do mean that. Thank you, my man.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, man, that's my guy, man. I don't know how entertaining that was to you guys, and I don't care how much it was, but I appreciate him joining me and like giving me that insight on some things that we don't necessarily hear in sports talk, radio, or TV about the inner workings of these legal cases, man. Like, I'm looking at my notes right now. I had like 20 more questions for him. We could have done a whole show with him because I got that much stuff I want to talk to him about. Anyway, we'll take a break, come back. We'll hit on this day. Might talk a little bit about these super orgasms as well. We'll figure it out. It is the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm here live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker. I'm also on the Spreaker app. Tune in, and of course, OneMicWithBigMike.com.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at OneMicWithBigMike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
Hey everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody. There's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
Hump Day.
Yeah, man. It's Hump Day. Wednesday, a.k.a. also, by the way, it's Woman Crush Wednesday. Shout out to my man Emmett Bean checking in here on Facebook or whatnot. Today's Woman Crush Wednesday goes by the name of Nina Tames at Ninaatames. She's a young lady who's been chosen to be today's Woman Crush Wednesday. Yes, it's the One Mic with Big Mike show. I'm live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 7 o'clock here on Spreaker. The Spreaker app. I'm saying Spreaker, by the way. So make sure you guys head on over to Spreaker, sign up for your free Spreaker accounts. It's absolutely free. And follow One Mic with Big Mike. You can also download the Spreaker app from all of your or for all of your mobile devices. And if you got the TuneIn app, I'm there as well. You can also catch me on my website. Go check out the website, man. OneMicWithBigMike.com. The show is also available on demand on everything I just mentioned, as well as on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube, and I got the Facebook live stream pumping right now. Go to One Mic with Big Mike on Facebook and check me out. Also, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram. And once you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, if you want to win a free Michelin S or New Era Atlanta Hawks hat during the playoffs, all you got to do is very simple. Just send me a DM with hashtag Big Mike's Brims. Hashtag Big Mike's Brims. Go to One Mic with Big Mike on Twitter and Instagram and shoot that over to me, or you can just email them to me, Mike at One Mic with Big Mike. Put Big Mike's Brims in the subject line, and during the playoff games, during the Atlanta Hawks playoff games, I'll do some drawings. Put some names in a hat and draw them out, and I'll contact you back, let you know that you won, and ship you out a hat. It's just that simple. If you want to get involved in the show, there's a couple of ways you can do it. Text me at 404-902-8104. Leave your comments and questions below the streaming video here on Facebook. You can also jump inside my live and interactive chat room. You got to be listening via Spreaker, the Spreaker app, or my website to do so. All right, it's that time of the show where we take a look back to the history and to the annals of sports. I call it On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, on this day, on this hump day, in 1858, the first ever U.S. Billiards Championship is held in Detroit, Michigan. Michael J. Phelan, he won the game. Do they still play billiards on like ESPN? I used to watch that. There used to be this Asian chick called the Black Widow. She used to wear like all black, of course. You know what I'm saying? It was cold as hell on the table. I don't see that anymore. I don't see that on TV anymore. Also, on this day in 1877, the catcher's mask was used for the first time in a baseball game. On this day in 1940, the NFL cuts the clipping penalty from 25 yards to 15. God dang. Like, if you clip somebody twice, that's half the field. Yeah, that was a good move. That's a good look on the NFL's part. On this day in 1958, the 12th NBA championship, ATL stand up. Well, ATL kinda stand up. The St. Louis Hawks, they beat the Boston Celtics 4-2 for the Hawks only championship. Didn't happen here in the ATL, so you don't want to stand up too much. Okay, do it on this one. On this day in 1966, ATL stand up. ATL Atlanta Fulton County Stadium opens. The Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Braves 3-2. Well, that's no good. On this day in 1972, the Players Association and owners agree to terms ending the first player strike in baseball history. On this day in 2004, Barry Lamar Bonds hit his 660th career home run, tying his godfather, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays, for third on the all-time home run list. The 72-year-old Mays greets Bonds at home plate with an $18,000 torch. What? A torch? Oh, like the passing of the... I get it. It was studded with diamonds, forming the numbers 660, 25, which is Barry's number, and 1. The number... What? The number to needed move... Okay, this is not put right. The number needed to move ahead. Where the hell will Willie Mays get $18,000 for a torch, though? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, they weren't doling out money to Negroes like that back then. Is Willie Mays selling dope? Or ass? No, I'm just playing. On this day in 2007, in the USA, I don't know why it says that. You guys remember Don Imus. Wow, that was 10 years ago. Don Imus is fired from CBS for making controversial comments about the Rutgers women's basketball team. If you don't remember what they were, he called them nappy-headed hoes. And everybody lost their mind and started screaming racism. And I was wondering to myself, how is that racism? Because there are some white people with some kinky-ass hair. And some very loose women who are white as well. So, if anything, I felt like they should have taken umbrage with the fact that he was calling them hoes. You know what I mean? Like, having that, first of all, another thing is, like, for black people, that connotation, that negative connotation that's put on nappy hair, that's a you problem. You know what I mean? That's a you problem. At some point, understand that you created that monster by putting the yucky the silky straight, all that stuff in your hair. Yeah. Calling curly hair good hair, nappy hair bad hair. Just saying. That is your hump day edition of On This Day. It's the boy from Africa. I have no those in the building. Who is Jeanette Lee, dog? Did I say something about Jeanette Lee, the pool player? Hell yeah. I am no those. Like, me and this dude is kind of, unfortunately, kind of like kindred spirits, man. Like, because I used to watch that, man. I used to watch the freaking the billiards championships and stuff on ESPN or whatever channel they would come on. I just think it was ill. I played a little bit of pool back in the day. Not like, I wasn't good enough to like hustle people or nothing like that, but I was all right at it, and I love to watch it as well. Where are we at here? Okay, so we're I guess it's time to do like something about Colin Kaepernick every day. Now, I'm not doing it purpose or on purpose. It's just coming up. So yesterday, I was doing a show with this cat named Sean Stewart. He invited me on. He was gracious enough to invite me on his show, and I was ingracious enough to I think I hijacked the man's show, to be honest with you. I'm not even fronting. I didn't think about it till it was over, but I just kind of like made it just like I made it like a Tuesday episode of One Mic with Big Mike with guest Sean Stewart. No, I'm just playing. But while I was doing the show, he was asking me about something. I don't know what it was at this point, but I just kind of cut him off because I was watching TV and talking to him, and I saw this quote, or I saw in the bottom line that Kyle Shanahan said that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have the ability to play in most NFL offenses. And I was like, here we go. Here we go. Somebody had to start it, right? Somebody had to start the reasons of why he won't get a job. And this will be one of what I think will be many, because then you'll start hearing about the money. You know what I mean? No one will use the word distraction, because that will illuminate the fact that you're being racist pieces of crap. You don't want to do that. And here was a funny thing that happened yesterday on that show, too. My man was very, very presumptuous. He said this to me. I'm sure you'll agree with me that what's happening with Colin Kaepernick has nothing to do with his protest. I was like, hell no, I totally disagree with you. It has everything to do with the protest. You know what I mean? There is no doubt in my mind. Because he didn't just come out and say, I'll start standing for the national anthem because he just felt compelled to. He know the climate. Him and his agent, they know the climate. They know the people, these old white men that they dealing with, these owners. So you gotta come with some repentance. Sorry, sir. I didn't mean to disrespect your dumbass flag and your racist ass song. That's probably the way I would have said it, but whatever. Same concept, right? So yeah, this dude tells me that it had nothing to do with that. I was like, what planet are you living on, cuz? What part of the game is that? So anyway, let me find this Kyle Shanahan thing, so I can tell you guys exactly what this dude said. And it's so awesome, too, that the fact that he is now the head coach of Colin Kaepernick's former team. Because when he left, or when he opted out of the deal, John Lynch, the new GM, he said the door isn't closed on Colin making a return. They just didn't want to have him back at the $14 million price tag that he was set to make. So either they were going to cut him or he was going to opt out. He decided to opt out and kind of get a jump on things. People are very, very mistaken when they call this dude an idiot for taking his player option. No, that's not an idiot. His boss told him that they was going to cut him anyway because the price tag was too high. But John Lynch said that the door was still open for him to return. Now it seems like that door has been slammed the hell shut by the head coach, the brand new head coach of the Washington, back it up. He's not there anymore. That's 3 stops ago. He's now a San Francisco 49er, Kyle Shanahan, I mean. So he says the fact that his next team will have to cater its offense to fit his skill set. The quote is, I think just the experience of doing that type of stuff, you don't just run stuff and think you're going to be good at it right away, he said. Having to switch the offense to fit Kaepernick, you've got to commit to it and work at it year round. And it's all the positions. When all your quarterbacks have different ways to be successful, which I've been in situations like that, and you try to prepare them best, it does take a toll on your offense. Let's run it down. Black quarterbacks with Kyle Shanahan. There was Donovan McNabb. Ruined him. Donovan McNabb was like a 1,000,000-time Pro Bowler. Bunch of times in the NFC Championship game. Super Bowl quarterback. He gets to Washington. They tell him he needs to change his mechanics. And like an idiot, he did it. Like, dude, you've been in the league 1,000,000 years with plenty of success. Like, whatever you feel about Donovan McNabb, he's got hella numbers and he's experienced hella success in the league. For me to come in now and somebody to say, "Nah, we got to do something with your mechanics," and then you remember the situation where he got taken out of the game during a 2-minute drill for sexy Rexy Grossman, feel me? Because he was out of shape, is what they said, or that he didn't have. They felt like Rex had a better mental handle on the 2-minute offense. Like at every turn, they was like banging this dude. Then there's the RG3 thing. They ended his career. Had this dude playing on one leg in the mud. You know what I mean? RG3 is done. Part of that is Shanahan's. Came to Atlanta, all white, just the way he wants it. And now he's in, who is that quarterback out there in San Francisco? They got one quarterback on the roster, right? Isn't it Matt Barkley? Yeah, come on, B. You got to do better than that. Like, if you want to start telling me about guys who can't play in every NFL season, how long Matt Barkley been in the league? He got like a little bit of playing time last year with the Bears, and now all of a sudden he's your answer. Colin Kaepernick, no. Matt Barkley, yes. All right. One of these guys have played in the Super Bowl, by the way. A couple of NFC championships. One of them has. I'll let you guys figure out which one it is. He goes on to say in this quote, what you're trying to get good at, you can't practice everything. You can't be great at everything. You kind of got to commit to something and do it over and over and over again. And once the type of running game or drop back game you're going to commit to, one quarterback is completely different than the other, then that does affect your team. Yeah, that sounds like window dressing. That sounds like a dude that's just talking out his ass, man, because he don't want to address the question of, okay. The reports were that he was looking for $9 to $10 million. That's a $5 million savings from what he was on the hook for last year. So the man's saying, like, okay, I want a chance to compete for a starting job, and I'm looking for about $8 or $9 million or $9 to $10 million a year. That's chump change for the quarterback position in the NFL, right? At 14, it doesn't have any quarterbacks. At least if you're the Browns. The Browns got a few quarterbacks, right? They got Kessler, they got Osweiler. RG3's been cut. So they still got 2 quarterbacks. San Francisco got one. His name is Matt Barkley. All right. Nothing to see here. His skill set just don't fit. He got the same skill set as Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. They got the same skill set as Cam Newton. Cam Newton's played in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying, man. They act like for the only place for him to go is to Buffalo because he'll be backing up Tyrod Taylor. That's what Kyle Shanahan is saying. It's so utterly ridiculous, man. Like, this dude's career is probably over, man, and it's a shame, and it's an indictment on the league. But like I started the show off, right, with, as long as the league is full of dudes with the mentality of guys like Dez Bryant, there will be no accountability. Like, who is there to hold these billionaires accountable? Nobody. And they know it. They do what they want to. And especially from a PR standpoint, all they got to do is fool a certain sector of people. The same way that same sector of people was fooled and made to be, and were comfortable with being idiots about, he's disrespecting the flag, when the man stood at a podium and said, this is about racial injustice in this country. This is about police going on vacation after murdering black people. Paid vacation. Nope. It's about the troops, about the flag. All right, Jethro, you got it, B. It's your world, cuz. Like, me and the rest of the brown and black people, we obviously just live in it. What else do I have here? I got a bunch of crazy stuff on the notes today because, as you can see, there's not a lot to talk about. I will not I will not discuss Tony Romo playing for the damn Mavericks. That's ridiculous. Apparently, I will say this about it. Apparently, I'm watching the Levitard show this morning, and they do this ridiculous bit where they just like cut into what's the Stephen A. Smith First Take? They just cut into it and like play it over the air. and like these dudes are yelling and screaming about Tony Romo being in warm-ups with the Mavericks. How idiotic and contrived is that? And y'all eat it up. I always say I blame y'all, man. I don't blame them. Stephen A. Smith cashing checks. So he gonna come in and do what he do. But it's y'all. Y'all the ones that support it. This dude yesterday, the dude I was talking about, Sean Stewart, dude whose show I was on, was talking about that. Like, yeah, man, I was watching First Take and watching Undisputed, and I was like, stop doing that. Especially if this is what you're trying to do. Formulate your own thoughts. Be who you are. And understand that it ain't about yelling and screaming and, my opinion is better than yours. That's ridiculous. Like, some opinions are better than others, like a lot of them are. Some opinions are stupid. Like Dez Bryant's opinion about why black people are secondary citizens in this country. That's a stupid opinion. It's still his, but it's stupid. You know what I mean? But it don't take no yelling and screaming. Don't take that to figure that out. You call it what it is and you move the hell on. Speaking of moving the hell on, it's the One Mic with Big Mike show. If you're listening to the show right now via Spreaker, or you're listening to me on the Spreaker app, make sure you hit the little like icon, the little heart icon, and make sure you share the show while you're listening on Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and hit that situation. I can't even listen. Oh, Stephen A. Smith. I was like, what's sass? Stephen A. Smith. I thought that was like surround sound. Yeah. Like that dude is a caricature, man. I mean, that's all he is. But I'll continue to say this. He is cashing checks. The rest of you morons are doing it for free. You're listening to this crap for free because you think that's what it is. That's what it's supposed to be. Nah, demand better. Demand just conscious information. Something that's gonna provoke actual thought. That idiocy that I see on Facebook every day. Like, I'm in these Facebook groups, right? And I want to participate. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be that dude that's just posting stuff about my show all the time. Listen to my show, check out my show, just doing. I don't want to be that dude. I want to participate, but I don't want to participate in ignorance and stupidity. I don't want to do that. Who's better? Who would you take? I don't know. You know what I mean? Whatever. And it's like the dumb ones too, dude. It's like Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. You mean two great ass players? How do you lose? Like, the only way to answer that question is this. If we had a 2-person draft and you got stuck with the second pick, would you be mad? The answer is no. Shut the hell up. There's no debate. There's nothing to debate then. I'm going to debate great versus great. Leave me out of it. I can't fathom that being an actual thing. You feel me? How much time we got in this segment? We got like 6 minutes left in this segment. So tonight, or is tonight the last day of the NBA season, or is it tomorrow? Either way, I think it's tomorrow or today. Is it today? Tomorrow. It's one of the two. Either way, let me give you guys real quick the rundown again on how things are going to play out, because there are some things to play for as the season wraps up, and cats is like resting. Like, the Nets are resting players. I don't know what. Are they trying to get a jump on vacation? I don't really understand what that's all about, but I don't care either. Like, there's certain people who want to act like, burn them at the stake. Why? I don't care. First of all, it's the Nets. You know what I mean? Like, if you're trying to see Jeremy Lin that bad, you probably want to go back a couple years too, by the way, when he was with the Knicks. If you really want to catch some vintage, some good Jeremy Lin. I don't care if he's sitting. I don't care if Brook Lopez is sitting down. Who cares? So here we go. The Bulls, Heat, and the Pacers. There's 2 slots, and if you just heard me, I just mentioned 3 teams. So it goes like this. The Hawks are at the Pacers. Oh, I'll tell you about Dez Bryant after the break. I am no those. You missed the beginning. I'll tell you. Tonight is the last night. Thank you. So the Hawks are at the Pacers. Paul George. Oh, I got to talk about Paul George after the break, too. This nonsense is going on with him and his money, and the way this CBA has these dudes they about to have dudes begging in a minute. The Nets are at the Bulls. I mentioned already. The Bulls need to win to get in, and the Wizards are at the Heat. The Wizards are already in. The Hawks are already in. What am I saying? The Bulls need to get in. The Heat need to get in. Of course, the Pacers need to get in. The Pacers and the Bulls, they win, they're in. So it doesn't matter at that point what the Heat does. And apparently the Hawks are going to rest players as well. So it'll be a little easier for the Pacers. But we saw the Hawks beat the crap out of the Cavs with nobodies on the floor as well. So let's not crown them yet. Let's not do the Danny Green. Shout out to Danny Green. Cleveland and Boston still trying to battle it out for that number one spot. Boston is one game ahead with one game to go. Cleveland, they resting. LeBron's resting. They don't really care at this point, I guess. But the only way they can earn the number one spot is for, of course, Boston to lose and them to win their last game. Kyrie probably not going to play either. So for that matter, how are we looking? The Celtics, they're going to play the Bucks, who didn't bring the Greek Freak. How is Delhi sitting out? Delhi's on that. I don't know if y'all know this. Delhi got a shoe. He got a Chinese shoe, or is it an Australian shoe? He's from Australia, but I'm not sure if it's a Chinese shoe or an Australian shoe. Anyway, Delhi got a damn shoe contract. Look it up. Get you some Delis in your life. Chris Middleton and Tony Snell. All these people, they're not even going to the game. So it's not even an option for them to play. They're not even going. Adam Silver about to piss his pants. Boy, all these people not playing in these games that matter, though. They matter for playoff seeding. Or for guys even getting into the playoffs. This is one that matters for playoff seeding. The Clippers and the Jazz, which I think is going to be an awesome series. And all they're playing for right now is who's going to be 4 or who's going to be 5. They both sit at 50 and 31. So Los Angeles, they got the tiebreaker. The Jazz played the Jazz take the number 4 seed with a win and an LA loss. The Jazz will play the Spurs and the Clippers. Lucky them. They got Buddy Hield and the Sacramento Kings. Hell yeah. You know what? I got time. I can get into this Paul George thing real quick before I go to break because it's awesome. So Paul George under this new CBA, and I've been talking about it for a while now, getting you guys ready that some changes are coming. Paul George could be out $76 million if he doesn't make make one of these all NBA teams. And there's some provisions within the new collective bargaining agreement that says it talks about how much money the team that you're currently with can pay you. I'm trying to look for the article. Dang it. Oh, here it is. All right. So I can tell you guys exactly what it's called. It's called the Designated Veteran Player Exemption. An all-NBA selection would allow Pacers to offer Paul George a contract that takes up to 35% of their salary cap rather than the usual 30%. If George meets the criteria, he could receive a projected 5-year, $209 million contract from the Pacers. And the other team would pay him $133 million over 4 years. So you get an extra year and $76 million more. Ain't nobody moving again, dog. Unless you get traded, ain't nobody leaving the team ain't no stars leaving the team that drafted them. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to have Ben Simmons for the next 20 years, more like 15, based on the way the CBA is laid out. If you're wondering about, Anthony Davis missed out on that $23 million last year. Yeah, dog, because he was hurt and didn't make that all NBA team. Ugh, God, it's too much money. Like, that's money that we as normal folks, we can't even conceive that much money. Like the 20-something million that Anthony Davis didn't miss, that's not his salary. Paul George, that 76 ain't his salary. That's the difference. That's the minimal part of it. But anyway, real quick before I take this break, let me give you guys the other guys who are going to be up for this all NBA team as the forwards, because you realize it's not per conference, it's the entire NBA, all NBA. Thus, so LeBron, of course, Kawhi, you got KD, Jimmy Butler, the Greek Freak, Gordon Hayward, even Blake Griffin might sneak in there to keep Paul George out. Now, Paul George has had a good year, so if he's fortunate, he'll get in. Like, to me, this is a situation where, like last year, if I was Anthony Davis, I'd have bought all the reporters that had votes. I'd have bought them all cars, cuz. You see what I'm saying? Like, you spend 50 grand on what? 20 cars? Subtract that from $23 million? You still in the come up. Like, I'm bribing like I don't give a damn. I ain't no damn moralist. Take this money. Get this car, man. Get this Benz, and let's go. You know what I mean? Get me in this all NBA team. I know I was hurt. I don't care. Hell, look, Trump is the president. I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to end mine.
I have one question for you.
Do you or someone you know run a business that could benefit from additional exposure? The One Mic with Big Mike show is currently taking on new sponsors and advertisers. One Mic with Big Mike is currently syndicated across 8 different online platforms, and your company's name could be heard and seen across all 8 as well.
Let's get to work.
Please send all inquiries to Mike at onemicwithbigmike.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your continued support.
All I need is one mic.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. Do you want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
And now back to One Mic with Big Mike.
And here we go!
I'm stoner. Speaking of stoners, did y'all see this foolishness? Let me find it again. I was just looking at it. A pastor from right here in Georgia who claimed the 49 people who were massacred at the Pulse gay nightclub in Orlando last year, quote, got what they deserve, has been convicted on all counts of sexual molestation charges. Boy, life come at your ass fast, don't it? Yeah, boy, life comes at your ass fast. Boy, I hope the booty warrior in there waiting on that ass, too. Kenneth Atkins, a 57-year-old married Baptist minister who was a former drug addict, yeah, that sounds about right, was convicted of 2 counts of aggravated child molestation, 5 counts of child molestation. I wonder what the difference is between aggravated child molestation and just regular child molestation. I wonder, like, what the line of demarcation is there. And 1 count of enticing a child after taking advantage of an unfortunate 15-year-old boy nearly 70 years ago. You say, what makes the kid so unfortunate? Or how did he entice him? Well, I'm glad you asked. Adkins. He groomed the boy by becoming his quote-unquote father figure after his grandfather died. The boy didn't have a father. This dude was like Black Jerry Sandusky. You know what I mean? And rarely had food to eat. Adkins used his power to coerce the boy into a sexual relationship in 2010. The preacher had sent him pictures of his penis. Part of the game is that. Like, that's just some wow, brazen, like, I don't even care anymore stuff. Like, this dude has probably fooled himself into thinking he's in an actual relationship with this kid. He tricked the child into a sexual relationship. You say, how did somebody trick you into a sexual relationship? Glad you asked. He tricked him by telling the teen he wanted to watch him have sex with his girlfriend, to make sure, of course, that he was doing it correctly. The preacher then joined the pair in sex acts. It happened also in the church office, hallelujah, in Atkins's car, and at the beach for, I guess, some sort of I don't know, dude. His dumbass turned down a plea deal that was going to give him 5 to 30 years. I mean, he an old Negro, so I guess he just wanted to, take his shot, just take the chance. But now he faces life in prison due to Georgia's strict sentencing laws. I don't know if you guys watch Lock Up Raw. Oh yeah, they love these dudes in the joint. These child molesters, they got to put them in the SHU. SHU, it stands for the Securing Housing Unit. But they still find a way to get to these cats, boy. Hell yeah. I hope they get to his ass. Literally and figuratively. And here's what he said about the stuff that happened down in Orlando at the Pulse nightclub. He's tweeting this. Dear gays, go sit down somewhere. I know y'all want some special attention. Y'all are sinners who need Jesus. This was an attack on America. Been through so much with these Jacksonville homosexuals that I don't see none of them as victims. I see them as getting what they deserve. Life. That's all I'm saying. Life, boy. It comes at your ass fast. It's usually these dudes too, man. Think about it. Like here in Atlanta, Eddie Long, another dude, like the trick boys out their booty. You know what I mean? MF for marching up and down Peachtree Street against gay marriage. Yeah, you can't marry them. But sex acts against another person's will, gay sex acts against, yeah, all with that. Yeah. And then you MF is wanting to be all like sad when he died. Whatever, dude. This is like one of the times that I wish there was actually a such thing as hell for people like him. You know what I mean? But he's just worm food now. So whatever. The world's a better place. About fake ass, child molesting ass preachers. Anyway, this show has been kind of grim, dude. Now that I think about it, it's been kind of like, yeah, man, a lot of stuff that's going on is like on some next level craziness. Speaking of craziness, hey man, Steph Curry is his turn, essentially. You know what I mean? I told y'all about around Christmas? I was talking about my dad. My dad can't stand Steph Curry. And I know what it is because he light skinned and he crazy cool. And you know what I mean? But that's kind of feels like to me, there's a sense of that around the NFL now. This guy who writes for the Warriors, let me get his name for you real quick. He wrote a book about Steph Curry. It's called The Miraculous Rise of Steph Curry. And in the book, he talks about how some of these players like LeBron and Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul, they kind of resent Steph Curry for no other reason than him being him. On some real little girl high school type ridiculousness. Now, I'm not confirming any of this stuff. I don't know it to be factually true, but I'm just reporting to you guys what's in this damn book. Some of the excerpts go as such. Quote, I think if you ask them, and they're being honest, they don't like all the hype he gets. They have to direct it in that way. I think out of all of them, if somebody doesn't like Curry, I think it's probably Westbrook. He just shows no sign of this ain't really about Steph. It's bigger. His seems to be, I don't like that dude. But LeBron and them, I think they will say, man, I like Steph. We can have a conversation, but there's something that burns them about the fact that Steph is the one that is exalted. And because of that, they want to go at him and demean his hype. They want to take him down, end quote. Well, see, here's the thing about that, man. And here's the thing that I've always warned people about when they start talking about stuff about Steph Curry was he was undervalued or people missed on Steph Curry. No one missed on Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the epitome of the story of someone who realized their deficiencies and worked like a beast to fix them all. Coming out of Davidson, there was problems. There was he's too small to be a shooting guard, but he don't handle the ball well enough and pass the ball well enough to be a point guard in the league. We don't know what to do with him. Then when he got to the league, remember, there was the injury stuff. His ankles and his feet, and they had Monte Ellis. And there was a decision to make at one point. Do we keep Stephen Curry, or do we let Monte? And I think at the time, Monte Ellis was the leading scorer on the team. We know Monte. Monte got game. They decided to bet on Steph Curry. He got the injury situation straight. We see the work he does in pregame with the handles. Got his handle situation straight. He could always shoot the basketball. That dude turned himself into a star from freaking Davidson. Like, it's turning. Let me tell you what it's turning into. It's turning into a Tony Romo type situation that I can't understand. Like, those are the stories that y'all people who love these feel good stories say you love. You say you love the little guy. Came out of nowhere, persevered through adversity. And you say, what adversity, Mike? His dad was an NBA player. He was rich. That didn't make him a better player. That didn't get him a better evaluation coming out of college. The fact that his dad played in the NBA. See, that's the thing they want to use. They want to say these guys grew up without dads and they feel like Steph has already been privileged and all that. Maybe so, but that ain't his fault. The accolades that he gets and the way people fawn over him, that's not his fault either. That dude plays a fun brand of basketball. What's Reggie saying? Reggie's saying Steph Curry is getting it. What? Steph Curry is getting it, was getting overexposure. I don't know what that means. And he said people get jealous because of that. Like, that's like, I don't understand that. Like, if this stuff is true, I don't understand that thing. You know what I mean? Because now what we're talking about, if you understand what was happening here, we're talking about like this cliquey type stuff. Like Chris Paul and LeBron, they're homies. Then you got Russ, who every time Russ sees Steph, he getting his ass kicked. Let's keep it real. Like, the possible MVP of this year gets railroaded every time 30 comes in the building, or vice versa. He get worked. Now, obviously, it's a team thing as well as far as the defense is being played on him. But Steph got crazy game, man. And I'm not sure if that's something that's just not appreciated. I remember, let me tell you this. They won the championship 2 years ago. 2 years ago when they won the championship, I was doing the Sports Kings then, and me and Rob had Bone Crusher. You guys know Attention, big Bone Crusher. We had him on the show talking about the NBA Finals because I saw him tweeting about it and all that kind of stuff, like really going in on LeBron. I invited him to come on the show. He was gracious enough to do it. So me and him kind of got to arguing about it, and he was telling me how Steph Curry was the best player in the world because his team won the championship. And I was like, that's flawed logic. that's absolutely flawed logic. And this big thing, if you guys remember, LeBron was sitting on the stage with that leather jacket on. He said something about, because I'm the best player in the world, I'm supposed to do something or the other. I forget what he said. They was talking about because he was shouldering the load. It was just him and Dellavedova. Kyrie was hurt. Kevin Love got hurt in the first round. And LeBron was like just going in every game, damn near triple-double for the series. And he was asking him about it. He was like, I'm supposed to do that. I'm the best player in the world. And for whatever reason, people took exception to that. Like, why is it that? Why is it that happens? That you feel like somebody who's actually, that's an accurate critique of oneself if you're LeBron James. Why does that rub people the wrong way? You don't want people to tell you how much better they are than you. LeBron is better than you. Remember when they won when they lost, as a matter of fact, to the Mavericks. And he did that thing where they was asking him about his critics or whatever. He was like, "Yep, but guess what? Tomorrow morning I'll wake up and be me, and you'll wake up tomorrow and be you." To me, that was funny as hell because it's true. All these people talk about LeBron, his clutch gene. He don't have it. He's a choker. Well, here's the thing. You'll go back to your hourly job, and he'll wake up with that fine-ass woman and the wonderful kids and that big-ass house and continue living that life. I'll trade. I trade the clutch gene that apparently everyone thinks they have, and he doesn't, for that life. I do that. It's just amazing. Like, the mental makeup of the sports fan is something that always just... It's intriguing as hell to me, and in a lot of ways, it's frustrating because it's so stupid. Oh, my man Emmett Bean's still in the building. He said Romo was undrafted. Curry was a lottery pick. This is true. Not close to Romo's story. I'm not going to go that far. It is close. You know what I mean? Because the part that I'm talking about, though, is that even though Steph Curry was drafted, 7? No one saw back-to-back MVP out of that pick. Come on, let's be real. The same way that when Romo came into the league from Eastern Illinois, no one saw that dude being the most prolific passer in Dallas Cowboys history. You know what I mean? These guys that come out of nowhere. It feels like you should embrace that. And that's what I'm talking about, Emmett. I'm talking about maybe this is not a word, but I'm going to use it. The embraceability of the story. You know what I mean? This is not LeBron. LeBron came into the league, chosen one, the king, all these things. So I can kind of understand how people with that type of mindset would look and say, and revel in any failure that he ever experienced. But Steph Curry is that dude that's like, he's just this unassuming dude. And then all of a sudden there was, and I think that's the article kind of points that out too, the suddenness of his fame. Like people feel like he just came out of nowhere. Well, sometimes I've always talked about this when bringing him up. He is a story of hard work, man. He's a story of building yourself into a star, because he didn't come out the womb with some of the gifts that guys like LeBron have. You know what I mean? Like LeBron's DNA is ridiculous. When Steph Curry dunks a basketball, people lose their mind. Like, what? Like it's a white dude. You know what I mean? Because he's not the athletically gifted dude, but he's a crazy basketball player. And I guess I can see where the resentment would come from. That guy, they feel like guys have been toiling away at their craft year in and year out, and they still don't get the same notoriety as a guy like Steph Curry. I was talking about one of them on Monday, right? I was talking about Dame Lillard. Guys like Dame Lillard and what's my man's name, Mike Conley in Memphis. These are real ass point guards, man. But they'll get buried. They'll get buried in all the Russell Westbrook hype and all the Steph Curry hype. They'll get buried in all the Chris Paul's the greatest leader ever and all the James Harden reinvented himself as a point guard. Meanwhile, in Portland and in Memphis, you got two other dudes that's doing crazy work. Maybe you look at Steph Curry and say, man, damn, how come that ain't me? Well, sometimes it's about the marriage. Not only did Steph Curry work on his game, but then he got married to Steve. The team got married to Steve Kerr, and they developed this system, this sharing system, where he's able to get these shots. He's able to shoot the ball from so far away. He's changed the game in so many different ways. Like those things put together, they kind of just birthed this star. This shining star. He got the cute baby, two of them now. He got the beautiful wifey. He got mom and pops in the stands. Like everything is just in a perfect area for him optically. The optics are just perfect for him. You feel me? I don't think there's anything to resent, because most of it isn't anything that he can control. The only thing he can control is how hard he works and how he prepares. The other stuff, the 73 wins, the championship, that comes as a result of the environment and the team that he's on. And if that's his greatest fault, sign me up, please. I'm here. Being humbled sets better with folks. You're right. I remember arguing with a dude on the phone when I was doing my radio situation, because he wanted to tell me that I was wrong, that the reason people hate LeBron so much is because he reminds them of how much further they have to go in their lives. You know what I mean? Like when you see LeBron and LeBron is telling you that tomorrow morning I'll wake up and be me, but you'll wake up and have to go back to your crappy job. Yeah, that stings a little bit, but it's true. And people don't want to be reminded about that. But you can't get mad because it's true. Because it's not like LeBron. It ain't like he filled out a quick pick slip and hit the lottery. Nah, he's better at something. He's like, that's the one thing about sports. Like when you're one of the best ever to do something, your lifestyle is way different. It's inconceivable to what's normal people. And people are resentful of that. I'm not sure why. Because if you were in the same position that LeBron was in, you'd be the same way. I know I would. You know what I mean? I look forward to the day I get to put it to the test as well. You know what I mean? Like, bring it on. And watch all y'all talk about, oh, man, damn Mike. Yep. I'll be saying the same thing. Damn Mike. Oh, we about to get out of here in a couple of minutes, man. Don't forget as well, I'm going to remind you again, head on over to my Twitter or my Instagram or to my email. My Twitter and my Instagram is at One Mike with Big Mike. My email is mike@onemikewithbigmike.com. The reason you need that is so you can send me either a DM or an email with the hashtag Big Mike's Brims. That way you'll be registered to win one of these brand new Michelin S New Era hats I have, the Atlanta Hawks hats I have. I'll be giving them away during the Atlanta Hawks playoff games, just at some point during the game. If it gets too boring or not, I just put a bunch of names in the hat, pull them out. I might even stream it on my phone or record it or something. I don't know what I'll do. I'll figure it out. But then I'll hit you up and let you know you won and get your information and send you out a hat. Just that simple. But you got to make sure you're following me on Twitter and or Instagram. Can't say and anymore for those people who don't have an Instagram or Facebook. Like my Facebook page too, by the way, One Mike with Big Mike. Let me clean the plate, see what's on the notes that I'm not remembering to mention. Oh, I can't forget to do this. While we speaking about LeBron, shout out to LeBron James, man. Shout out to LeBron James. He's opening up a brand new public school in his hometown of Akron to help out some at-risk youth. I think it's going to start off with 3rd and 4th grade, but by 2020, it's going to encompass like it's K through 8, I think. Let me just find the damn article instead of trying to remember. This is the reason I save these things so that I don't have to remember all this foolishness. I didn't even elaborate on, like, none of you bastards said anything too about the super orgasms. I'll leave it alone. I'll let it lie. Super orgasms, yeah, it's a thing. Damn it, women. Damn you. Yeah, we need a snack in like 20 minutes. They busting off 100 at a time like a machine gun. Anyway, the school will be backed by James's Family Foundation and will open in the fall of 2018 and focus on children in 3rd and 4th grades at first. And by 2022, the school will expand to accommodate grades 1 through 8. Shout out to LeBron James for that, man. So far, this dude has touched and affected and helped support 1,100 kids over the last 6 years, man. Like, this is why I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the undying love for Michael Jordan, but the disdain for LeBron James. Because one of them does stuff like this. The other one doesn't. Or hasn't. Yeah, it kind of matters, you know what I mean? So I understand why, because I'm from that generation, why people love Michael Jordan. But I don't think you love Michael Jordan but then say, I hate LeBron James. Nah, that doesn't really vibe. You're treading into very shallow idiot water when you do that kind of stuff. Like, this is the dude that, this is who they want NBA players to be. I hope you've tweeted about the super orgasms, because I'm going to look forward when the show is over. I will tweet it, my man. For you, I will tweet about the super orgasms, 100 orgasms in one sitting. And apparently, it's not about all that hollering and screaming. The article says that they happen when the woman is calm. And so, like, you think you ain't doing nothing. That's the optical illusion. Because, like, we want feedback, fellas. We want, you know what I'm saying? We want to hear it. Like the porn stars do it. But apparently, it don't work like that. Yeah. See? Super orgasmic women have high alpha waves throughout masturbation. Wait, so is this a thing that they can only give themselves? What's happening? I kind of just skipped over that. Anyway, that means they're relaxed during the whole process. Challenge accepted. Yes, challenge accepted. Super orgasmic. If she ain't already, we gonna find out. All right, let's finish cleaning the plate. What else is on here? Oh, speaking of money in the NFL, NBA, Mo Harkless. Anybody know who Mo Harkless is? No, probably, right? Mo Harkless plays for the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, Mo Harkless is in line to get himself $500,000 if he shoots 35% from 3 for the season. Mo Harkless right now, with 1 game to go against the Pelicans, is at 35.1. So, my man misses a three-pointer. It costs him $500,000. They even broke it down, and I'll do this before I get out of here. Give you guys the layout of what he needs to shoot to maintain 35%. If he goes 1 for 1 and just stops, he'll be at 35.3. He'll be in the money. If he goes 0 for 1, he's at 34.8. And I don't know if they rounding up, 34.8. He's out of the money. If he goes 2 for 2, of course, 35.7, he's in the money. If he goes 1 for 2, he's at 35.2. If he goes 0 for 2, cancel it, 34.7. If he goes 1 for 3, he just makes it at 35.02. Because 0 for 3, forget about it, 34.5. If he goes 2 for 4, he'll be at 35.3. 1 of 4, he's at 34.8 again. And of course, if he goes 0 for 4, yep, cancel it. Cancel that check, cuz, yeah, you're right. No shots. I'm driving to the basket every time. I ain't taking down 3. I ain't even setting up back there. So don't even pass me the ball. If you pass me the ball, I'm passing it right back to your ass like a hot potato. Yeah, ain't nobody blowing. I ain't got certain people. If you're Mo Harkless, you shouldn't have that much confidence in yourself. You shouldn't have that much confidence in yourself. I wonder if this game going to be on tonight, as a matter of fact, too, because I want to see it. I want to see if this idiot does something like, because look, think about it this way. If he starts the game off and shoots two 3-pointers and goes 0 for 2 and falls to 34.7, what's going to happen for the rest of the game? Gunning, trying to catch it back up. This dude might end this game tonight like at 33% because his dumb ass went out there and shot the first 2 and missed them, and it was like, God dang it. Because this stuff is public knowledge. This is on SB Nation that I'm reading from. So if this dude doesn't know what I know about his money, well, that's ridiculous. He's an idiot. He should know that if you miss 1 shot, my guy, if you take 1 shot and miss it, you're below the threshold. And for the rest of the night, you're chasing. Like, I don't give a damn. If the team is down by 2 and you get the ball in the corner and you're wide open, yeah, we're going to lose tonight, baby. We're going to take this L and I'm going to get my $500,000 and go to the nearest strip club and do something about it. Drown my sorrows. We in the playoffs. They got to play for her. Shoot, you must be crazy. Ain't no way in the hell your boy's taking now 3-point shot. But we talking about these alphas. You know what I mean? These confident ass dudes. Of course he's going to do it. I can't wait to turn on TV tomorrow and find out this dude done blew $500,000. Last thing real quick. The state of North Carolina, they doing some big boy bull crap. They're threatening the schools the public schools that are in the ACC, North Carolina and North Carolina State. They say that because they revised that HB2 bill. They say that if the ACC decides to boycott the state again, that that North Carolina and North Carolina State will be forced to leave the country. They're forcing them because they're publicly funded schools. They're forcing them to leave the conference. Why, man? Just so you can be bigots? Yeah. So here's the thing. So keep telling yourself and keep fooling yourself that college is all about education. College sports, there's a such thing as a student athlete. No, it doesn't exist. It's like a unicorn or Bigfoot. People say they've seen it. Not quite. Friday, I'm gonna try to do a NBA season recap and preview with my man Jovan Buha. I haven't talked to him yet, but he's one of those guys who's never told me no. So I'm gonna hit him up after the show and see if we can get him on to talk some NBA stuff, get us ready for the playoffs, kind of recap the season a little bit, because a lot of things played out this season that no one saw coming. And I'm not just talking about the triple-double situation. I'm talking about a couple other things. Utah, my man Dame Lillard, he's back in the playoffs. Boogie Cousins got traded. A lot of things to talk about as far as what happened during the season, and then things to kind of preview going forward in the playoffs. So we'll try to do that on Friday. Don't forget, the show, all my shows are available on demand. You can go to Spreaker, SPREAKER.com. Don't forget to sign up for your account and follow my show. The Spreaker app, download that from your app store. Tune in if you already got that. And, of course, check out the website, onemicwithbigmike.com for postings and all, and scores and news and all that kind of stuff. You can also go to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, and subscribe some more. Like my Facebook page, One Mic with Big Mike. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, One Mic with Big Mike. And until Friday, I am No-Dose, Reggie, my man Big L, Emmett Bean here on Facebook. Appreciate you guys hanging, man. Reggie, we'll talk tomorrow. So until Friday, talk to the rest of you bastards on Friday. Have a good one.